Test, test. Can you hear me there? Anyone in our chat, just let us know if you can hear our audio here. Trying to see how much of a latency there is. If anyone's in the chat right now, just let me know if you can hear this. We're just doing a sound check on our end right now, so feel free to say stuff. I'll unmute myself first. All right. All right, so hopefully this is all working here. Okay, let us know if you can or can't hear us, Adi.
3, 4, 5.
So,
Hopefully you don't.
oh, there we go. All right. Well, welcome everyone to our advanced fursuiting outside the fandom panel. If you've come to MFF or any of a number of big cons, we've given this panel before, but not in a while. So thanks for coming out and watching. I'm here with Equus Silvermane. He's what I like to call the talent. I'm none of it. I'm sort of his helper here, but I get out and I get out and make and do the entertainments as well. So, anyway, we're just here to talk about some of our experiences we've had fursuiting around the fursuiting outside the fandom, which actually started at MFF 2014. It was our first con. Well, it was Equus's first con. I didn't come around for a couple other years, but it was his first con, and we got off to a pretty shit. Sorry about that. We got off to a pretty exciting start, and that's sort of what sort of bit us, got us into outside the fandom fursuiting. Specifically, in MFF 2014, we got some recommendations to go to a local microbrew called Pipeworks Brewing, and we had such a good time there. This was a Friday on the con. I know most people don't like getting, wasting too much of their con time, but we went down there, and they liked us so much. We drank with them for 4 hours, and they gave us a good case of beer to take home. And after that, we just sort of really, we started looking for opportunities to get out and sort of take our show on the road. And since then, we've been, fursuiting. This is here at Harper's Ferry, West Virginia. We do a lot of stuff outside, especially national parks here, including Yosemite. And like I said, you really, there's a certain magic to cons, but the general public really likes if you show them a good if you show them fursuits, they really tend to like it, as you can see here. So what we're just going to talk about a couple things here is we're going to just break this down to a number of different sections. First, we're going to talk quickly about what we call engagement. Then the typical things of planning and logistics, which is you typically hear, the things that you tend to hear in these sorts of panels. And then finally, we're going to talk about how you get buy-in, how you really get, you win over the crowds that you're hoping to get good engagement for. So we're going to talk about, as we sort of go through this, we like to, when we talk about engagement, that means, I know this is sort of like a buzzwordy term, but it really means, like not just having people tolerate you, but really have them sort of be into you being there. They're coming up for photos, they're maybe taking their own photos. You're really giving them, they're really showing that they're engaged with you as opposed to tolerating you. I think in this day and age, we've never really gotten any people who haven't enjoyed, who have been actively hostile. But every so often, if things don't go well, you sort of get the sort of icy toleration. And what this panel is trying to do is not only go out, be safe, go interesting places, but how can you really win the public who weren't expecting you to be there? How can you have them go away with a great day and you going away with some photos and other fun stuff? So there we go. And like I said, just great times, great opportunities, all sorts of stuff that you can do outside of cons, especially with COVID-19, getting outside, not necessarily interacting with the public, but at least apart from a con, there's still a lot of things you can do in a very safe manner. So let me just see, we sort of doing a new thing here. Make sure you got everything going. Okay. Any comments there, Equus?
Not at this time.
So as you've heard in a lot of these other panels, is you need to make sure that you're doing planning. Well, when this first thing is before you get out and go and get in the suit, you want to scout out the location. You want to go where you're going to go in suit. You can't really see much when you're in fursuit, so you need to be able to walk that out of suit. Gives you a good lay of the land. You want to know especially where the exits are. If you're inside, you're gonna want to know where you're gonna change. That's especially again when you're not in a real like a location with rooms, hotel rooms. Finding a good place to change can be difficult. You want to know how far you're going to have to walk. Sometimes just in concept, you don't realize how far something is until you go do it. Are there slopes? Are there stairs? Is there mud, water, etc.? You also want to gauge what the atmosphere or the energy is like. Energy is important. We'll get into that later. But if bad energy can really make for a not very good fursuiting time. For example, once we were shooting for Charity at the Pennsylvania Horse Expo, and the only place they had for us to change was in a vending alcove. It wasn't like that was the only place we found to change. They didn't even have a place for us to change. But you just put down some newspapers and off you go. You need to make sure your plans are flexible. Don't go in there with your heart set on everything you want to do. Like here at Yosemite on the picture we have up, when Equus went out there the first place he went, there was a crowd, really crowded, not very good photos, a long walk, like a quarter mile, maybe half a mile. And what they did was he made the choice to go somewhere else. And in fact, he got this wonderful photo, and there was an old couple there that they loved him, and they took the great picture. So just because what you have your heart set on or you have in your plans, it might not work when you show up. So you've got to be ready to alter your plans if it doesn't feel safe or doesn't feel comfortable. You also want to, we always like to say, you want to have your story straight. This just means that most people out there, as much as the fandom likes to assume that no one likes us, 90% of people really don't know what furry is and have never run into them. You want to be able to, when people come up and say, "Who are you?" and "What are you doing here?" It's really you want to have just something quick and easy that they can relate to, and then they can get on to taking a selfie with you. For example, just one of the easiest things is to say you're a costume enthusiast or you're a cosplayer. For example, we were visiting some friends. By the way, this is the picture we like to give. This was at Rocky Mountain National Park earlier this year, and these guys, these tough-looking, Middle America guys, they weren't giving us hate. They just wanted to get a picture. So this shows you don't assume that the public doesn't like furries or fursuiters. Anyway, sorry. When we we were staying with some friends in New Orleans, and one of their normie friends really loved Sven from Frozen. So instead of saying like, "Oh, hey, I'm none of it. I'm not Sven." We just roll with it, and it just shows that he didn't care. He just he loved the fact that there's a big antler guy, and the fact that we weren't exactly the character that he loved from Disney didn't really matter. You can always, the other things of if you don't look like exactly like a popular character out there, you can always say that you just make something up or just say it's from a show. No, people don't know all the shows out there, so that's another trick that we've used. You can always say it's for the internet. You can say it's for your school. There's all sorts of stuff. Just got to have that ahead of time so you're not sort of fumbling and bumbling around like I am here on this live stream when people ask you. Especially you can always just say that you're doing something for YouTube. It's it's a wholesome American activity to go and be a content creator these days. Something else we want to talk about is that you got to watch out what we call the issues of policy. This is where highly managed situations or things where you have policies is usually where people are going to be primed to say no. This is sort of like highly managed events like sporting events or concerts, anything involving a large corporation, franchises, anything that people need to worry about brand management, any events with security needs, schools especially. These are things that you might want to think twice about, or if you're going to do it, you definitely want to go get permission into one of these places. And just because something might seem like, if you don't mind getting, having people say no to you, You never know. So here we are with Equus at we on a lark. We asked to get into a part of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and they actually had no problem with it. So here we have him standing in front of the unicorn tapestries up at the Cloisters in Upper Manhattan. It helped that it was during the New York City Renaissance Festival. But if you don't ask, you don't. If you don't ask, you're never going to. Sometimes it's good to not get an answer, but sometimes if you assume people are going to say no, sometimes it's good to let them tell you no, as opposed to just assuming. At the other hand of it, sometimes it's better asked for forgiveness than to actually to get that no. If someone says no, you really shouldn't do it. You're going to get you generally get in trouble when you get told no and do it anyway. But in certain situations, you just want to leave that ambiguity. So here we have Equus, who was able to competed in a Halloween dressage competition with his horse. And normally they require a helmet, but they were more than because he just got got in suit and went out there and did it. They were more than willing to believe the fact that he had a helmet under there, or it was built on one. Needless to say, he did win the test, and it was a really fun experience. Logistics. This just means we're going to go over the typical thing we always say. You always want to have handlers when you go out, especially outside the fandom suiting, or in a small group or in an odd location. Handlers are very important. The more handlers you have, the better. But it should definitely, should try. Ideally, should have maybe a 1-to-1 ratio or a 2-to-1. This can be relaxed, and especially in that, it gets a little bit better with groups. But when you have too few handlers, if the groups get split up or the crowds are too big, then you're in the issue of having to leave some of the fursuiters alone by themselves. Here in this picture, we were out getting some pictures on a California beach, and we had no problems with the people there. But some of the pet owners had their dogs are a little rambunctious, and then they thought it was cute to see have their dogs pawn all over the furries. But that's where the handler needs to come in and step up and keep things under control. Or at the other things we did was when we needed photos, the handlers maneuvered me and Balto there to places where we could get pictures, but it was sort of less accessible for the general public. Handlers, of course, need to be properly equipped: water, straws, etc., phone and wallets, then IDs for anyone who's involved in the fursuiting. If any police or security do come up, having the IDs handy makes it generally assuages any fears they have. Make sure you have your accessories with you. Cameras are definitely very important. People generally behave better when cameras are out and visible. Even if you're not there necessarily wanting to take pictures or many pictures, it's really good to have your handlers equipped with a camera. Handlers specifically need to look out for issues involving food and drink, cigarettes, they need to be taking photos and video, of course. They need to be pointing out walking hazards, helping the suitors keep their personal space, and like I said, with pets and animals. In the case with food and drink, if you're doing like a photo line, the handler should be very proactive about like offering to hold food and drink for people, again, in non-COVID times when you can touch things. Also, in pets and animals, we like to say don't get into arguments with pet owners about their animals' behavior. It's just easier for the handler to step between the animal and the fursuiters. It doesn't cause an argument, and it does protect the suitors. It's generally safe if when you get people to come handle for you, make sure that they know that they're handling. Don't just tell your friends to show up for an event and then you pop into suit and then suddenly they're stuck with it. It's just better if they know ahead of time. Just don't be rude. Another quick thing most of this we usually cover here is sort of the 1 or 2 person get out, get in suit, get some photos. But group fursuiting does have its advantages. There is sort of a safety in numbers. You're less likely to be confronted by management or other stuff. Most people assume that they can bully 1 or 2 people, but if you're there with a giant herd, it becomes much harder for folks to do that. Also, it's not quite as creepy with just as opposed to 1 or 2 people. Where is that? Sorry.
Yeah, we should probably mention, like, you mentioned COVID-19 fursuiting, and while we have indeed fursuited during COVID-19, we've explicitly not done so in a way to seek out the public. And so I think really the question of public fursuiting and trying to be out there and interact with the public, it's a don't right now. If for no other reason, it's just safer, and also optically it just doesn't look great. So, we will get through this time and get back to what we were doing.
So, yeah, as I said, this is all this talk is predicated in the after the this is the talk we give before COVID and the talk that we're sort of prepping for post-COVID type stuff here. We also recommend for outside fandom suiting. We recommend cooling vests. The break-even point for suiting is actually around 35 degrees. So unless you're in really cold parts of the country, in the very cold parts of the winter, you're probably going to have a cooling issue. Vests take, they usually last about 2 hours for the standard ones. You can make your own. The components are out there, or there are any number of furry suppliers. But we will say that when you are using them, make sure that when they all melt off, that's a good cue for you to stop what you're doing and either go get them recharged, because they start insulating at that point. However, outside of a con facility with its air conditioning and fans, the cooling vests really do help you sort of be self-contained. It sort of makes you sort of independent, at least for that time where you have the cooling available. For changing, we also want to recommend you practicing getting into suit, getting in and out of suit quickly. We've literally had to get in suit in alleyways, behind a rock, on top of in various places in parks. The faster you can get in and out of suit, the better. People won't notice you quite as much. We also highly recommend having a large duffel bag or rolling luggage. Action packers are great for luggage or carrying out of your car into the hotel room, but they're just absolute bears to carry around any length of distance. You want something that can roll or something you can put over your head if you have to use any sort of walking. If you want to avoid that altogether, changing right near your car is also a great option if that's available. Also, make sure you bring drop cloths, tablecloths, tarps, anything so you can change on dirty surfaces. Newspapers will do on a pinch. This also helps because, when you want to get out of suit, or when you have your clothes off and you're in suit, you can just wrap them up in the tarp or drop cloth and throw that back in the car, and it prevents them from getting dirty. So it's sort of a whatchamacallit. It just makes things easier all the way around. The worst thing is when you go to try to get and change into suit, and then there's mud or water or sticky on the floor. And it's almost always the case that there is. Always consider accessories outside. These are always sort of useful. Sports jerseys, they make you look like a mascot. They also keep sticky fingers off your suit. A walking stick or a staff helps you create space around yourself. It also allows, if you have a single handler, helps them. The handler can control one segment of where you're standing in a crowd, and the staff or walking stick can control the other half. Of course, I'm Canadian, so I got the hockey stick. That works very well as too. Any additional costumes you have for your fursuit, again, makes you it moves you away out of that cartoon category, and that's something that, again, the adults and the older kids will like better. Think sort of Renaissance fair or cosplay or con, like what you see the good costume performers at those events. You sort of get up to that standard, and you're going to have a better time. Also, we'll just do a quick thing. I know that a lot of people don't like talking in suit. For the public in general. A lot of the public, especially adults, love moving mouths, love moving jaws, love character-appropriate voices. You don't have to talk to everyone. We'll say that it's usually best to avoid the children. They often have sort of you get weird follow-up questions with the kids that are sort of hard to ask. So it's perfectly acceptable to be more pantomime around kids, but if the adults lean in, you can talk to them. They think it's really cool because they think that you're like breaking the rules and making an exception for them. Get up here. Oh, sorry. Here's some. If you got a little.
Fursuit up
Yeah.
in Mount Washington. One thing that I like to impress upon people is do things that you like, and do things that you really enjoy when you're suiting out in public, and maybe you just add a fursuit to that. And I happen to really love hiking, and I've hiked Mount Washington before, and now I have a fursuit. And now I have the ability to hike it up Mount Washington, and it was a really, really cool experience to be able to do that, and to take it up there and get some pictures somewhere I had done so before about a decade earlier. So that was a logistical challenge involving multiple bags and about 10 or 12 miles of walking. So.
But the key part is that we've practiced how to not only change in and out of suit quickly, but also how to pack it up in a safe way, so you can get it up, get it changed. So not only did we suit at the summit, as you can see here, we suited a number of places on the way down, and even in 40 to 70 mile an hour winds, we were able to get this tarp out, get the suit components out, get into suit, take the pictures, get out of suit, get it all packed back up, without a car, without an action packer, and then walk it back down. So it's not that difficult, but it involves just like you pack if you're take your lessons of packing your suit away in an airline luggage and sort of apply it to wherever you're going.
It's really if you're going to do something like that, you just have to look at here I have a bag. This is the bag that I'm going to use to do it. I'm going to be wearing it for a long period of time, and am I going to be comfortable with that? And then just fitting everything in, and then making sure that you have a tarp with you and stuff. It's really just about being prepared. Whether you're doing this or just going to the beach with a suit, it's all about being prepared, and sort of all the same things. You take you take a tarp with you. You've got your suit ready to go, and things in individual bags inside of bags. And, this is a very fun experience, even with 70 mile an hour winds. We still have fun.
1 second here. Hold on. I had a little ahead of schedule, so I had a little visual aid here of. Hopefully you can hear this playing. Just when we were out at Mount Washington. So like I said, these are hurricane force winds. So it just shows you can suit in a hurricane. This is not necessarily a hurricane. It's just the winds are that strong. But with a little proper planning and a little boldness, you can go fursuiting in all kinds of conditions, and they hold up pretty well. Let's see where we were here. Let me see if there's anything else that we had to quick talk about. One other thing that we'll just quickly mention, like I said, is this is sort of whatever. We did have a thing of being careful about animals and horses, or animals, dogs, horses, whatever. It's sometimes animal. Just be careful if you're thinking about like doing any fursuiting with animals, pets. They might need a little bit of time ahead of time to get used to you. So especially if you're out, police horses. We already mentioned people's pets. Just one thing we mention for people to take care of. We do it, but that's usually we're aware that that you just need to be careful around animals that can spook, which is often typically horses, but all of them. So the last concept that we sort of wanted to talk about is like, how do you get good buy-in from your crowd? So how do you go to a place and have people actually leaving excited that you were there and happy that you were there? Or as we said, the thing we were talking about in part one is sort of, you want to answer the question of who are you and what are you doing here? But the second thing is, how can you really add value to wherever you've gone? You can take, your suit to one place, You can take, it's very, very contextual. And this part of the presentation is just talking about how to help you pick the right places to take your suit, because half of it comes down to just selection. The first thing we just like to discuss is just the concept we call the free pass. This is where you don't have to explain yourself because you have a free pass. This is where people are expecting, it's not necessarily they're expecting you to be there because you're at a furry con. It's that it's like Halloween and you're in costume and nobody cares at that point. So anything like Halloween's a big one, what we call free expression festivals, like pride parades, burning events, art festivals. If you're not the weirdest person there, you don't have to really worry about it anymore. And that's always a good thing because it's very relaxing and very chill, and it's nothing where you have to feel like you have to be on to impress. For example, here we have a local, on most years there's a Christmas event in Baltimore at 34th Street with the Christmas lights. And, the Boo Crew and I just head out there and we just have the greatest time. We'll have like a photo line about 2 hours long, and no one has any problem. There's no need to explain what's going on because it's winter, it's Christmas, and the reindeer bring the presents, which is nice. Another thing is where you can sort of have a partial free pass. This is where you need a little bit of effort, but maybe not so much. For example, like if you were going to a Doctor Who convention and you decided to wear the Doctor Who scarf or put on a cosplay over your fursuit. If you so like Equus over there, he's a unicorn. He can just go to the Renaissance fair, but I need to go and put on some armor or something because I'm a Christmas caribou, not necessarily the medieval caribou. For example, here we have Equus fitting in at the BronyCon. He's a horse.
Heavy.
Yeah, it's not really a heavy lift, but one of the things we always like to say for other cons is that furries do get along at a lot of other places, but just remember that other people's cons, that is their cons. And when you're outside, when you're in someone else's fandom, you want to be respectful and not make their thing about you. So that just means like either try to match up with the theme, like a horse at a BronyCon, or if you aren't, figure out a way that you can sort of take that step towards them. I know sometimes that furries aren't, they get a little salty when other fandoms crash their events. But just like we said, try to be respectful. This includes things like anime cons, sci-fi cons, Ren fairs, any other geek con. Just try to take that step so people don't think that you're trying to crash it. Another neat thing is that you can go with like regions. For example, here we have Equus in London. One of their country's official animals is a unicorn, so that works pretty well for him. Although I would like to say that we thought that he actually didn't get very good engagement, just because in the UK, that whole reserved British thing is kind of true. So we got a lot better in New York City. So just because there's some stereotypes of what just because you think something might work doesn't mean it actually will. To do here. So hold on, let me just see here. Yeah, so the whole point is when you come here and when you match your theme with the theme of the place that you are, you're sort of just that's like that concept of adding value. You're enhancing what people are already coming there to expect. Sorry, here just making some notes. One quick thing I'll mention is that this is usually mentioned a lot. This is already talked about in a lot of other of these presentations. Make sure that be careful when you're fursuiting around kids. You don't want to be looking like you're specifically trying to engage with children, like you're going after them. That's a sort of a huge red flag, and what people try to avoid. The best thing you want to do is you can, like, if you're going to a place where kids might be nearby, just do your thing. And if they come up to you, them and their parents, then that's great. If they don't try to force that. We also say that there's there is an issue with teens, though, that they like to be, they don't like that's that whole peak of they don't want to be seen as doing stuff that's childish, or they learn about furries on the internet and are haven't quite grown up to the point where they think it's super cool. Again, that's another thing of there's a lot of teens and whatnot. Real by you might get some comments and things, but just ignore it. It's nothing you really have to worry about. Finally, the last thing we'll just mention is just sort of gauging the energy of where you're at. If people are having fun and are excited, they're gonna want to have fun and be excited with you. If people are focused on something else, or angry, or just not having a good day, a fursuiter might not either is going to get no engagement or negative engagement. For example, bad weather. If it's like if the team is winning and the mascot comes out, everybody's cheering for it. But if the team's getting like just demolished, 1 second here. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think if sorry if you're having some bad audio though. I'm not sure what we can really do about it. It says our connection's still good. 1 sec. Anyway, what? I'm going for dead air here. Okay, we're okay. Sorry about that. So it just you have to have a feel for the energy. For this reason we've had generally a negative experience in a lot of bars. People are there to drink, not to fort with. This is even when they've had Halloween parties or other such events that are otherwise completely on theme for the character. We just don't tend to get a lot of engagement there because people aren't really there to engage with others. Like I said, watch out for poor weather. If the sports team is losing. Other things you want to make sure that you don't do is you don't want to upstage other people at other events. If this is especially true for any sort of performance, concerts, plays, whatever is going on, be wary. Please don't upstage people. That's independent of you. The crowd might love you in the background, but if someone else there is actually there to perform, that can lead to some tension, or at least just be very rude. One other thing we mentioned is that too much energy can be a bad thing. I think that a lot of people are going to be avoiding crowds for a very long time, but especially in fursuiting, even crowds were a problem for fursuits before it was cool. If you wade into a very crowded situation in suit, it can be you can get it can be very hard to get out of there if you're overheating. People start poking it, pulling at your costume. It becomes very, very difficult for even a number of handlers to create the space around the suitor. So if you're in a place and it's just jam-packed, if in the future and you go to a place and it is suddenly jam-packed with people, you might want to just have your COVID instinct there, kick back in and just avoid it altogether. We found this especially true at the Renaissance Fair. We found it true on that 34th Street location. Wall-to-wall people are bad for fursuiters. It's the handler's job to speak up, try to create that space. If there's photo lines or crowds of people who want to get involved and take their picture, the handler needs to speak up and manage that. Otherwise, when people are all sort of jostling and fighting to get in there, that's bad for the suitors because then you've lost all sort of crowd control. The handler needs to be a facilitator, not a cop. That means you want to try to enable people to get what they want and not be like just trying to yell at them. So, but one of the events, like there's one number of events that we've had to be careful with in the Baltimore area, like Artscape, which is about a 300,000 person arts festival that can get jam packed. And like I said, the Renaissance Festival here usually sells out every day when they have it. So, I'm not sure. I think normally we would have questions in our normal live stream feed, but most people are tuning in on the MFF feed. So I'm not sure. That feed's going by too fast for us to really go there. But I think we can have a couple extra. We're a little ahead of time here. we usually go a little slower when this is live. So, for example, I wanted to show off this. I did have this one. Here's a quick shot of our first year in 2014. We were at MFF, and here is the first time we were doing public suiting. Well, I'm gonna restart this real quick from the beginning so you can see. So we'd actually changed in the courtyard of an apartment complex here in Chicago. With just in the central parking area. I'm there. I'm towing the fursuit bag behind Equus here, and we're just walking down the street to where the Pipeworks Brewing people used to be. Because we were tipped off that most Fridays they just sort of have a little informal party. And the reason we went to Pipeworks is because they had a number of unicorn-themed beers. So our theme, the character matched the theme of what they were making and what they were selling. So, this was a total. We'd never done this before, and it was a total jump into the deep end, a sort of a leap of faith. And they seem to really, really get a kick out of it. You get all the people here; they're loving it. We got the guy with the rubber horse mask came out and gave him the hug. It was just a wonderful time. Yeah, and this was just something we thought that this was the stupidest idea, but we wanted to try it because why not? We didn't know a lot of people back then. We had nothing better to do at MFF on Friday. Sorry, MFF. We just gave it a shot, and it worked. It worked marvelously. Unfortunately, we actually went back another year and did the same thing with these guys, and then unfortunately, most of this crew here they got way more corporate, and they a lot of them got replaced. So now we can't do this anymore. So, I think we had one other quick video here. We can get this for the horse people. This is where we had Equus. He was riding his dressage test.
It's a really good example of just kind of doing something to and not asking for permission, like we talked about earlier, because I knew I would get told no. So I basically gave them no chance to say no, and just kind of got on, and then immediately walked right into the ring for my test. And yeah, this is one of the coolest things that I got to do in suit in one, which is really neat. But yeah.
So, anyway, no, this is so again. Just to go over, this is going to be, by the way, this is probably going to be available on Equus's YouTube account. I know that we sort of ran through this really quick. This panel does, we do run this at a number of cons. It does, the material does update. We go a little bit more into detail, and we can answer personal questions. So if you like the content, come out for our, our future events on this. And also just as COVID starts winding down, just think of some things you can do in your own local area. There's going to be a lot of demand for people to get out of the house and do things again, just keep it up. Other things we used to say to people is, or not say to people is, oh, that's right. I had one additional thing here. Here you go. Charities, we said I'm sorry, got a little out of whack. There's always the thing, people know Fursuiting for charity. We've done this. This is for Gentle Giant's Draft Horse Rescue. That's always something. But again, this is something you definitely want to coordinate ahead of time. But it's a really great thing if you can work with a charity and be out there. Just make sure that you work with them and you're not doing your own thing. You're there to support the charity. And here we have the time where Equus went out to a Philadelphia Eagles tailgate party. And we parade... What? Oh. What's wrong? Okay. And the neat thing about this is just that it just goes to show that, that a lot of people's conceptions about, again, how the public doesn't like furries or wouldn't like furries, especially... This is a, professional NFL tailgate parade in a major city known for throwing, getting mad and throwing batteries at people they don't like. And, and we had no issues. You put on a jersey. People were throwing footballs to Equus. He really wasn't good at catching them. But this was the week that the Pope was showing up in Philly, and we had a Eagles Pope cosplayer giving him the high five. So again, if you got the Pope cosplay guy, you're not the weirdest thing if a unicorn shows up or whatever your character is. If your character has weirdo colors, maybe there's maybe your color maybe matches a school or a university where you have some friends at. If not, put on the jersey. It just takes a little bit of effort, and we've had nothing. We've had almost entirely positive experiences. The only bad experiences we had are where people just ignore us, which gets a little awkward. But we've never had an actual bad experience. So
the worst thing that can happen is sort of an awkward situation, really, and that doesn't happen entirely often. And you can normally tell ahead of time something's going to be kind of awkward, and hey, maybe I shouldn't do this. So.
No, but the only thing we can tell you is you have to learn by doing. Everything you can follow all of our little pointers and tips to the letter, and it's not going to be 100%. You have to have your own spidey sense with this. You have to get up, get experience, try, and be willing to have some of the occasional awkwardness. But you're going to get better at it, and you're going to have more. I'm pretty sure that you're going to have more fun than not. So I'd ask for questions, but I think that the stream is really delayed here, so it's a little hard for us to take questions. I'm pretty sure that was.
If anyone has any, we can try to answer.
Yeah, we're so Equus. If you go on YouTube, Equus does have said we're streaming on his channel. That's getting his channel right now, and we are up there in the live chat. If you see that, if you want to submit a question.
Just flip back and forth between the two.
Yeah, so I know that's a little tough. This is the benefit of cons and being live. We don't want to bail out and leave poor MFF with 20 minutes of dead air. For some strange reason, when we do this panel in person, we can't get it under 90 minutes. But I think with just the lack, it's just crazy how with the lack of a live audience, how it changes things. But we're all learning through this. Hold on here real quick. We have some other things. We can do a quick slideshow of other
Go back to the live stream.
Oh, this one? Yeah.
No, the
Oh,
MFF one.
got it. Oh gosh, we're closed captioned too. Hold on one second. We're just gonna do a couple. In our last 15 minutes, we're just gonna do a quick trip through some of the places that the Equus and us again.
The first time I wore the suit was public suiting, because I had seen my maker take pictures in basically the same location, and I was like, that's really cool. And so we went there to wear it for the first time. Drove up from Phoenix to there and I literally put it on for the first time in the parking lot, and took some really cool pictures there. And this is really exciting to be able to go there and replicate some pictures that my maker had taken, and sort of the reason why I had a suit. So it was really neat.
Just hold on here. Yep. Of course, furries always love the air crew photos. They always like it too. This is Equus at the Gentle Giant's Draft Horse Rescue. Again, on the first weekend he had it there. Renaissance festivals, of course, are always a good suiting opportunity.
Yeah, this is a good example of suit at Halloween.
Yes.
Because you won't have to worry about answering questions, and it's just a
public range near us.
Public range near us that we're members of. It's not quite public, but they actually we didn't run into anyone because nobody came over to the 200 that day, but we wanted to do this, and the Halloween was a good enough excuse that we could get away with it. So I don't mean get away with it in a like we were trying to put something over on people, but just because it's a whole lot easier to explain it
If it's
at
Halloween.
instead of like the day after Halloween.
Oh yeah, that's another point. The Halloween free pass is good the week up to Halloween, but not after Halloween. Mike's Pastry in Boston. What? No, he did that one. What?
You can remove them from
The thing.
yeah, like we don't need to.
Yeah. So, New Orleans, which is always fun. That was the thing. We walked about 2 miles around in suit in New Orleans. It was June, not the worst months. But this was definitely a situation where we went out early in the morning as opposed to late at night, where you'd have crowds of inebriated folks. It's good to avoid inebriated people when you're in fursuit. Even if they're super happy to see you, that can be a bad thing.
Yeah, that tends to be like really the worst thing I have to deal with. It's like drunk bros. I don't particularly like dealing with them. And one thing to kind of mention is don't be afraid to like sort of stand up for yourself, and if you have to, you really shouldn't.
Your handler should really be the one that's in charge of that.
And most people are totally respectful. Actually, honestly, people outside the fandom, in my experience, are far more respectful of fursuits and space than people inside the fandom, which is kind of an interesting irony. But don't be afraid to like tell someone to back up or to please ask to touch me kind of thing, because it is inappropriate for somebody to like just come up and put their arm around you, which has happened to me, which is weird, and you don't think about it in the moment, but then afterwards you're like, man, I really wish I had told that person to please move away from me. So.
But that's also the job of a good handler. The handlers generally doesn't want their suitor to pick a fight. Eagles Pope at the shore. This was another hurricane situation, although not quite as abrupt. I'm trying to think here. All right. So anyway, this is the New York City Renaissance Festival. We got surprisingly good engagement in New York City. We always figured that people in New York they can't be impressed by anything, but they really had a great time with Equus. So, what? Oh, okay. Yeah, we can see your questions, but unfortunately they're sort of shooting by right now, and there's a huge delay in the chat. So if we see questions in the next few minutes, we'll be happy to answer them as they go by. But just be aware that we're seeing what got chatted, I think, a little while ago, or you're seeing what we said. It's about a minute or 30-second delay. So yeah, throw some questions up in the chat, and we'll answer them live stream style for about another 5 minutes or so. The CCs. Check our other stream. Oh, here we go. Sky Pro made Equus.
Yeah. So my best experience. I don't know. There was a bunch. Probably putting being able to suit at a dressage show and win was really cool.
The Unicorn Tapestries is also
honestly,
up there.
I don't know if we have the picture. Well, I think none of it has a really good one. And I don't know where it is.
What is it?
It's the picture with the woman next to the Golden Gate Bridge. I don't think we have it, but
It's not on this machine, I don't think.
yeah, unfortunately, we don't have that one. That was cool just because the picture really just captures this moment of joy on this one woman's face, taking a picture with none of it. So that really was just really awesome.
I mean, we have this.
Yosemite was really cool. They're all really interesting in their own way. I think they're all just a lot of fun, and they all have their own unique qualities, like every interaction that I
a couple questions coming in here. How do you suit in wilderness areas such as the Grand Canyon? All the places that we were generally shooting were very, very accessible to the parking lot and the cars. The places where we were doing wilderness, like Mount Washington or more recently Old Rag in Virginia, in that case we were taking a suit that was easier to pack up, which is patches, and pack that in and out. You just need to have a very large capacity backpack. They exist, and then be able to walk 3 to 10 miles to get your suit to the place you want to have the picture at. How do we handle people that give you trouble? Now, in jail, this doesn't happen that much. Like I was saying, you really it basically the handler needs to use the fact that the handler should. Generally most people aren't going to be really much of a problem. The handler needs to make it clear that he has a camera. And just be assertive or ask nicely. We do have a story, but I'm not going to get into it about something a little bit more confrontational, but it's very contextual. But ideally, it should be the handler. And if you have an issue, you should probably it's on you to vacate the area if necessary. Like this is not life or death here. So don't go out and think that you need to, have a rock to grind, a grudge to grind, or win King of the Hill. I had another question. Hold on. We had one question of the worst fursuiting experience. I honestly have to say that was the time I had the picture of it. We had one or two. We went to a bar on Halloween. The people ahead of us were in Mario and Luigi cosplay. And people palpably ignored us. That was the absolute worst situation that I can remember. And that was just super, super, super awkward.
Yeah, so my worst experiences aren't really bad. They're just awkward, where you're kind of like, why am I doing this? Why am I in suit? Let's not be in suit anymore.
It almost feels better when people are like angry. I mean, again, I don't like people being angry at us, but it almost feels better than because at least
tacitly ignored.
Yeah,
it feels worse than because then it's like, whoa, who's that weirdo in a unicorn costume over there? Those are the worst.
If they say it, they sort of get your blood pumping, and you get that adrenaline rush. But if you just get ignored, it just feels really weird.
Go back to the MFF live stream.
Oh, MFF live stream.
Scrolling back here.
Yeah, we're just checking for any questions. Search up blah blah blah. Got a few more minutes here. Again, handle hate and fursuit. I said
that's never happened.
We'll get occasional negative comments,
but they're really not even that negative.
Yeah, I mean, there was once we were at the Ren Fair, and the guy in the really good Iron Man cosplay was like, "I don't want to get my picture taken with furries," and we're like, "It's like, okay, you're in an Iron Man costume, and you're dumping hate on the furries." Okay.
That didn't really go. It's kind of just okay. Well,
that's the worst that we've generally gotten. And I've said part of that is we try to avoid going to places where people are really going to hate on us. But at the same point, like I said, at Rocky Mountain National Park, you have people that if you said who's going to hate you out of a lineup, where?
Go back to the tab. But I mean,
and then they love you.
Yeah. Don't really have a lot of hate. So.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Question from MFF. How do you? Well, we got that. Best experience. Like I said, I think that what was the one we picked out?
Oh gosh.
Yeah. I liked getting into the Metropolitan Museum of Art. That was really amazing.
The map was probably one of our better experiences, just because I totally thought I was going to get shot down by security, but they were standing right there, and we were like, "Hey, can we come in?" And I was in suit, and they were like, "Yeah, just don't knock anything over." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And this is up at the cloisters where the unicorn tapestries are, and there's a whole bunch of medieval art and stuff. And it was really neat to be able to suit there, because I never would have expected them to say yes.
And the neatest thing was when people would walk into the unicorn tapestries room, and there's a unicorn there, and you'd watch them do a double take, and their eyes go crazy. That was. I mean, Equus couldn't see that very well, but I could see it, and it was absolutely amazing. What's it like fursuiting for the first time? Not quite public suiting question, but I will say it's super magical.
I will answer that. Like, the first time you put on a fursuit, it's like looking at something new in the mirror, and it's this feeling that it's a really awesome feeling, because the first time I put a fursuit on, it was like, hey, I'm looking in the mirror and I'm not seeing me, I'm seeing my character staring me back in the face, and it's just a really magical moment. So
Regarding Tapestries, I'm just gonna yeah, there we go. There's the Tapestries picture. I mean, we have more, but yeah, it was really neat, and to see the reactions of the people, because as I like to say, public suiting isn't just about the fun you have. It's the fact that people and this is a general statement. You will go to a place, and people who come to see you are not expecting to come in and see a unicorn or whatever character you're playing. It's a complete surprise, and if you match up your character, and the theme of the event, you've given someone a story that they're always going to be able to say. Like, man, they're going to tell their kids or their family or whatever. Do you remember that time when we went to the Met and there was a unicorn there? And that just makes you feel good.
To answer a couple more quick questions, volunteer work. I used to do more volunteer work when I volunteered with the horse rescue on a more regular basis. But now I adopted a horse from the horse rescue. His name's Chase, and he's awesome. And you can read about him on my one of my Twitter pages. We'll put a post up here. But I don't have as much time to volunteer there because my horse is not there anymore. I wish I did, because I really like their mission. Go check them out, Gentle Giants Draft Horse Rescue in Google.
Okay, hold on. This is another question here. Someone asked, what's the must-have equipment you wouldn't think you'd need for fursuiting? Yes, most of the stuff is pretty straightforward in terms of water bottles, straws, batteries, cooling packs. I would say the one we consistently forget is bring the tarp. You gotta bring the tarp, or you're gonna get dirty, and even we forget about it. Remember, the tarp and the duffel bag and the and the rolling luggage are the two other ones that you need. What? Where?
I'm sorry, I have to keep directing him to go back and forth between those.
No, they're piping questions into the other one now. Fursuiting in snow.
Fursuiting in snow is honestly awesome. It's cold. It's and also it could become more of a problem if you went to MFF before in the last 2 or 3 years, and the day that it snowed, that was a wet snow. Wet snow sucks because it's basically like frozen rain. That's sleet, but yeah, like a super dry snow, which is like a very cold snow, is awesome, because it's just it'll collect on your suit, but if your suit's cold, it's not going to melt, and it just kind of like is there, and then you just shake it off and you're good to go.
And another thing is, just remember that fursuits they're not real fur. They don't stop wind, so you need to make sure that you dress. They will keep you warm, but they will not keep you warm from wind. So you have to make sure that you have something on underneath that will protect you from the wind. Otherwise, it'll just cut right through. So we've done fursuit skiing a lot, and that's super fun. Again, we've had it's on a local slope about 4 o'clock, tons of kids there, but no one's given us the stink eye. They're all like, "Oh my God, it's the furries are here!" And they're generally 75% of them are positive.
With skiing, the biggest problem is when you even for a normal skier, is when you don't have good contrast. So if it's cloudy, or the weird time at about 4:30, 5 o'clock when the lights have just come on, but the snow, but there's still light above you, like from the sun, the contrast gets really bad, and you look out and all you see is a sheet of white with no contrast, and you're just like, okay, well, I guess I have to use the force to get down this mountain.
Jim Cody did a very accurate animation on that. Someone asked what a tarp was. A drop cloth, a ground cloth, something to put on the ground so you can get changed on it, because you have to take your shoes off and such. So you need to make sure that you're not standing on things when you're changing in the field.
So the size of luggage is basically whatever works, and you can still check it. There are many different we could run an entire panel on that. I've become very, very good at packing many suits into one set of like 5 bags or so, like whatever I can check with 2 people's checked allowances.
So Equus actually has a resin head that we carry in its own hard shell carry-on bag, and that's again something that that if we can't park right near where we're shooting, you have to roll that in, especially something that can get damaged very easily. So we always keep that in the case.
So we'll wrap up here for MFF because I think we have an hour slot.
Yeah, it's an hour.
We can continue to take questions on the live chat on the YouTube side.
Yeah.
We're happy to stick on for a couple more minutes if people have questions.
So just remember, Equus Silvermane has a channel on YouTube. You should see the live stream there, and there's a live chat. So we'll stay up here for about another 10, 15 minutes if anyone wants to come in and ask us questions. Thank you very much. Sorry this was a little bit disjointed. It's just sort of, when you do it live, you sort of know how to do it live, but when you do it, and switching to a virtual format, you can take some of the timing off. But thank you, MFF, for giving us this opportunity. We will definitely be doing this panel again at future MFFs.
Thank you to MFF for putting this together and for making the technical stuff work out in the background so it's seamless for everybody. So
this is very easy, and they're doing an excellent job. So, like I said, I think they're gonna. Oh, we got another question. So we're just gonna keep asking for questions. We're gonna leave it to MFF to cut us off from their chat, but we're gonna keep answering questions here and the other thing.
Well, that depends on if you're cleaning your resin head. Really, honestly, the best thing for cleaning any sort of head now is a Bissell green machine, which is a little upholstery.
Make sure you're talking to your thing.
Oh, that's not good. Well, hopefully they could have heard me.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Bissell green machine is really the best case scenario for cleaning any sort of head. It's basically a little, if you know what a rug doctor is or anything, imagine a small handheld version of that. So it works really well, and it just kind of sucks everything out of the head. And if you hang on 1 second, we're just
letting them know that we're just gonna keep answering questions until they do whatever. Okay, good. They put us on the new thing. So now we got a bunch of viewers here.
And we'll continue to answer any questions. So the interior, I don't know. You can probably just wipe it down. If you have any sort of padding in there or foam in there, you can clean that with the Bissell side. Or with the Bissell as well, because basically it just kind of sucks the water out of everything. So you spray it. You might spray a little bit of Folex first. You agitate that a little bit with your hands, and then you take the little hose that has the suction head attachment on it, and you just suck it right out, and they work great. They'll turn white back into white. If you have a white nose or a very light colored nose, it'll take because they get grimy even if no one touches them. They just get grimy. They'll make them white again. They're fantastic little tools. We were lucky enough to discover one when we moved into our house. The previous owners left one there. So.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the feedback. We really we like giving this presentation. Said we get the content doesn't change a ton, so we give it not every con. We give it a couple. We usually run this panel. Every other AC or every other MFF. There's always new people in the fandom, but we appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in and enjoying it. As I said, we add we add new content by doing new things, and even in this COVID year, we were able to get out and do some interesting things. Like I said, the Mount Washington hike, which was pretty intense. So everybody stay. We're just gonna. Anyone who is watching, make sure you stay safe. We gotta. We're almost there. You don't want to come this far and then get catch the COVID right before you get the vaccine. You got a good bunch of months to work on your new suits and your other stuff. So everybody chill out and hope you have a great day. But I said we're not moving anywhere, so if anyone has any additional questions. Let's see if I had anything else to throw up here.
Good to go.
Oh, there's that one. All right, Equus is out. I'll hang out for a few more. But I think we're winding up here. Let us know. Feel free. I think that you can leave comments on this. So feel free to let us know if there's anything else you'd like to do. Maybe we could do some additional streams or something in the future. We're not sure. So anyway, listen. Oh, here we go. So we hang them up. I mean, you can store them in tubs. I don't think it matters that much as long as you make sure that they're very clean. But if you want to avoid any possible problems, we hang them up. Just because if you put something away wet, or it gets wet, or it's at all whatever, it's gonna grow stuff. Hanging it ensures that it dries out. Oh, cool. Oh wow. I'm trying to figure out. Oh no. Now I don't know who the fancy werewolf in 2016 I met was. We probably have pictures of it. I can try to pull them up, but hold on here. Are you from Chicago? Sort of. Hold on, I can check it. And I'd probably remember you if I saw what your suit looked like, because we run through a lot of people at a lot of cons. I'm gonna give a quick for anyone who's still looking here, wants some closure on the story. I'm gonna give you some bonus material here that's not on MFF. The Pipeworks people that we hung out with that year and we hung out with the next year. They were really awesome, but the problem is that as the company got bigger and bigger and bigger, they all got fired or let go or replaced because they would just, they would have Friday Day Party and stuff, and then we went in suit 2 years later. So we went in suit in 2014 and 2015, and then we went back in 2017. And by 2017, it was all this. It was all super. We went in suit, and they had a store there, and none of the people that we'd hung out with before were still there. It was really sad, but it's just what happens when a small business grows, I guess. Anyway, well, again, feel free to send us feedback on Twitter. We try to keep that current with all of our fun exploits. Thank you very much for watching. I think we've gotten everyone to have their questions now. So I gotta wait 30 seconds after I say things because there's clearly a delay. So I'm just gonna sit here and twiddle my thumbs. Oh, okay, great, awesome. Yeah, it was so like I said, the first year you saw the video what happened the first year. They're in that small building. We went out. We hung out there for 4 hours. We drank stuff. They gave us label stickers. Really cool. Then they moved to a bigger brewing facility, but still we went in. We walked in that place in suit. We had 2 suitors with us. It was Equus and someone else, a ninja. And we were walking around the whole place for 15 minutes. We couldn't find anybody. We had the whole run of the place. And we found them in the back courtyard drinking. And that was cool. Then there was they were next to Off Color, so we walked into the Off Color place from the back and went around there and stuff, and that was cool. And then we went back 2 years later, and it was everybody. We went in again Friday. Everybody was working. quitting, like everything was just like there was a store. All the employees were actually working. None of the old employees were there. So it was pretty clear what had happened, that at some point they just got too big for the Friday party atmosphere. And it kind of stinks. No, but they were, we were going around that second year and they were tapping off the distilling things like directly into a glass for us. Be like, have some unfiltered, and they'd give it over. It was really neat. But it just shows that sometimes suiting can be yep. Sometimes suiting opens doors. That was probably the most obvious case. I think we've had a couple others, but I have to think of what they are. I can't quite recall, but this is going to drag on. This is going to start lowering the quality of this stream when we eventually put it up. So anyway, 610. Yeah, Equus Silvermane on Twitter, Equus Silvermane on YouTube. I know that Equus doesn't have we haven't had a lot of videos, especially in this last year. Oh, I don't know where the hotel and VR chat is at all. Oh, wait. What do you mean the hotel? Like, where is it in real life, or where is it in VR chat? The MFF hotel, I'm assuming. If you mean the MFF hotel, it's in Rosemont, Chicago. It's right near O'Hare. What? No, someone asked, where's the hotel in VR chat? I'm like, I don't know where the... What's going on here?
Yeah, I think you just search...
they probably can't hear you.
It's like Hyatt. It's like Hyatt Regency or something. If you search that in VR chat, it comes
Test. All right. I'm going to mute the other microphone there. Okay, that's... we gotta call it at some point. I'm going to end the stream. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see you at the next con, which I think is probably going to be AC. So I don't know if we'll do this panel at AC, but we are looking to do a macro photography panel at AC. So if you like that, if you're into that, if that's your thing, check out our panel at AC. Hold on, I got more stuff. Oh, the best people at cons and meets are always the normies. It's way more magical when the normies show up. They really appreciate it, and that's what we try to chase. Amazing. It's supposed to be a VR chat. Yeah, I'm not sure. Ask at Cooper Tom or the Cooper Tom. He knows. He's the one who probably made the hotel, so he would probably answer you on Twitter. All right, I'll see you again. Macro photography panel probably at AC. All right, have a great day. Everybody stay safe. Oh, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and any other winter events that you do, including solstice. All right, see you. Bye.